Hi again. Okay.
Hi. Yeah.
Wait, are we gonna start right now, or are we just gonna like start with a question? I thought we could just talk a bit and then start.
Sure, Vedika. Like I said, it's really good to see you. I'm seeing you after, I think, nearly 3 years. And I'm so happy to know that you've settled so well in your school. Because
Mm-hmm.
at that time, we were talking about this transition from your previous school to this new school, and it was a very different kind of school, right? Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm so happy to know that you're doing so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what is this interview about
It's
or for?
basically it's
Mm.
for it's a talk about it's just a regular chat about EDD because like people seeing this video should know more about themselves again. And and if they do not have the knowledge, they might not know how to cure it. And actually ADD is a power that they can use. That's because I remember like the pre the before I interviewed another person, and that person said that ADD is actually a power and we just have to utilize it in a special way. So
Mm.
it's not a disorder, it's a disorder, but it's not like a disorder
Mm.
because we can use that as a power again. So if
Right.
people with
Mm.
right minds, like everyone has a mind, but if they know how to use it, they can become a better person or successful. So
Mm.
this interview is gonna address what you thought about me. Like when you were interviewing me, I was diagnosed with ADD, and how did what was your impression on me of me? Sorry.
Okay. So you're asking me what I thought about you?
Yeah, because had ADD and how is it like to because you read a lot of books on me and used techniques. What did you learn more about me? So so
Well,
then so then you can
yeah.
use that. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah. So look, I think first of all, sort of we shouldn't get so caught up with labels, especially at that young age, right? When we get caught up with a label like, oh, I have attention deficit disorder, it kind of becomes very intimidating for a child. Okay. So I think the first thing that I sort of worked with you was to help you see that it was just a label, right? And it was just some behavior that you and I could work on. Okay. Because when children are young, the brain is continuously changing and growing. So you can see for yourself, right? When you were, how old are you now?
I'm going to turn 15. I'm 14.
Yeah. So when you came to me, you were, I think, 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah.
And yeah, and at that stage, every 10-year-olds brains, are not the same in the sense that the structurally, yes, but then, the way they connections have happened are very different. Okay. It is sort of a combination of your environment, the kind of nurture you received, okay, the kind of exposure, all your childhood experiences. So a lot of things sort of help in, the growth of the brain. All right. And it
And
also depends on nutrition, what kind of foods you've been eating. So uh, perhaps at that point in time, it was not easy for you to focus on something for a long period of time. Okay. And you would get easily distracted. So I think the first thing that was to help you understand that is something that you could control, that was under your control. Okay, so somewhere when you were talking to me, I could sense that you perhaps thought that it was not under your control. Like you felt like, oh, I can't help it if I get distracted. I just get distracted. Okay.
Yes.
So one part of it is to help you know that this is something you can do. And look, ADD is a clinical diagnosis. Okay. So, and of course, you can fall on that spectrum. You can have mild ADD or ADHD, or it could be severe. Okay. So there is a lot of medication, today, and has been there for a while. Putting somebody on medication is entirely a clinical, evaluation, not to take away from how useful that could be. And also teaching the child strategies to be able to focus and complete a task. I think that's what we did with you. You know, you and I, we sort of worked together, and then also I think we worked a little bit on the anxiety that comes up when you think that, oh my God, what was going to happen to me if I can't study this? You know, what's going to happen to me if my grades are not going to get better?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I
Yeah.
think we also worked with that fear
Mm-hmm.
with you. And sort of, as you sort of as we worked, I think we was able to see that it was, that was coming because you were assuming that you couldn't do some things. But when you started to actually do it, you realized that what you had assumed was not true. So the
Yes.
fear also started to come down. And you also at the same time started to feel more in control of what you could do. And I think, along with some of the breathing exercises that we did, you remember you did practice some breathing exercises with me every time you felt that, oh my God, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. What do I do? And then
Yeah.
you calm yourself. Remember those exercises?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it was a combination of all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So, what specifically helped you, Vedika? I
Um,
know it's been some time ago, but if you could recall, what was it that specifically sort of said, this is something that I really helped me at that time? What would that be?
I think it was on breathing control because sometimes, like earlier, I used to get anxious because I used to wonder what people would think of me and what impression would they get. And
Mhm.
um and sometimes I used to be bullied before, so actually, like during COVID, during the when you used to help me, I actually, when you made me do the breathing exercises, it actually calmed my anxiety down. And and I felt more refreshed and charged whenever I came back home. I had to do assignments. I think I just completed on time. So it
So,
didn't have a me.
yeah. So, see, that's the thing, right? That you used a skill and you
Hmm.
practiced using that skill. So, and see, and that shows, how willing you were to do the work.
Yes.
Yes. So you were willing to take that responsibility. You were willing to change. You were willing to practice what was taught to you. And I think a lot of that credit it goes completely to you because you were so invested in improving yourself, right?
Yeah, I was, because I
Yeah.
wanted to do better in life. But after some time, like during 9th grade, it's kind of hard a bit because, it's a tough year. And I guess like people are really concerned about grades this time. So grades are a priority and they're also I'm training for exams. So I kind of get a bit anxious, but I also have, this is not part of the interview by the way,
Okay,
but
that's fine. Yeah. Tell me, talk to me. Yeah.
but I have a school counselor. So she
Yes.
helped me a lot and I talked to her about some stuff, and
Yeah.
per day it keeps becoming better. So actually, my anxiety has reduced because earlier, like after I think I left your,
Yes.
I stopped classes. I think
Mm,
I my anxiety kind of ready increased a bit, and I
mm,
think when I have exams, like now in ninth grade when I have exams, it is kind of hard, and I keep wondering what my marks are. But this time, like my school counselor has advised me not to care about marks and just care about like the effort you put in. So it's actually helped me much better, and I'm more relaxed during exams.
very good. Very good. So, sort of shifting your focus from the result to actually just saying, I'm going to study and keep my focus on my efforts, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is there, and then what else are you thinking? What else you think you, how do you want to help? You said you wanted to help
I was actually planning to
children
like do
with,
some. I was actually planning to do some event in school where we brought parents and people with ADD together to just know more about themselves. But we just have to figure out the right time when to do it because there's a lot of exams that are happening. So probably the next semester we are probably gonna do it, like my
Mhm,
classmate and I. But
right.
otherwise, like, do some people need medication? Like, what kind of medication do people with ADD need to have?
Like I said, this is something that a clinician would decide. Okay. Like I said, we just can't go around labeling people as having ADD just because um, they are not able to focus on a task or they get easily distracted. It's not so it's not easy like that to just pinpoint, and I think that it actually causes a lot of harm if we just go around labeling children. Because, like I said, the brain is constantly changing and growing. So, and what you can't do today doesn't mean you can't do it tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got to be very, very careful about these labels. And if it is a clinical diagnosis, then depending on the severity of the condition, um, medication will be prescribed.
Yes.
Okay. But just medication alone is not enough. Children do need a lot of support and a lot of encouragement. Um, and they have to be taught strategies to be able to learn how to stay focused on a task.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's, the thing is, we also have to help such children with their anxiety because there is this fear that they may not be able to get better.
Yes.
Okay. And also, at the same time, it's very important for the parents of the child to be very calm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because children, obviously, when you're young, you tend to feed off any kind of parental anxiety. So it's important for parents also to sort of um, educate themselves on how best they can help their child, how best they can stay calm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, because it's not just the child, right? This is concerted effort that one
Yeah.
needs to. It's like the child, the teachers, parents, right? So all everybody put together that makes this happen.
Yes. So Do you want to move on to the interview? If that's
Yeah,
fine.
sure. Yeah, sure.
So I'm just very tired. I don't know. I just woke up and then my eyes are
Oh,
sleeping.
oh,
So we'll start right now. So
sure.
Miss Chandrika was one of my previous counselors. During the fall of COVID, she used to counsel me on certain aspects like anxiety and nervousness. Before having a session with her, she used to read books on ADD and coach me using the techniques provided by the book. More than using it for techniques, she used it to know more about me and how my brain was wired and how to function. Um, there, you can introduce yourself.
Okay, so yes, I'm Chandrika, and I've been in this field for many, many years. I started off as an educator and worked in colleges and schools in India, in the Middle East, in Australia. And of course, over the course of those years, which is nearly like, uh, I think, around 25 to 28 years, I interacted with thousands of students and parents, and I've always um, felt the need for um, us to focus on emotional education.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sort of the need of the hour. And I found that a lot of schools really didn't have the, even though they recognized the importance of it, really didn't have the time to devote to this kind of education. So I transitioned from being a educator to being a counselor. I mean, I trained to be a counselor. I trained in different forms of therapy. And basically, I was looking for forms of therapies which would give me the skills and the tools that I could teach children to help themselves. And so I trained, so I got advanced training in cognitive behavior therapy. And of course, and then I did a lot more like DBT and ACT. So what I do is I bring in my own experience, having worked with so many children, and I follow a kind of an integrated approach to help children, first of all, recognize what they're going through, help them label the emotions, the feelings, um, because the very act of doing that sort of, it helps in what we call as diffusion from these overwhelming thoughts and feelings. And yeah, and over the years, now I've been in this field full time for more than 10 years. So, what I've noticed is the kind of shift that happens for children when you actually, when they actually start to see the value of sort of practicing these skills. They feel more empowered, and so much more sort of capable. They recognize how capable they are of doing what they want to do.
I just wanted to say that I can we start again because I have to re-record it because it's only so I think 10 minutes are remaining, so
No,
I
no, no,
have to
no.
like
Vedika, don't worry about it. I'm upgrading it. Don't worry. You continue.
um I just wanted to start again because I'm sorry if I just said you introduce yourself because I didn't know what to say before.
It's okay, Vedika. It's there's nothing like that. Things have to be in a certain way. It has to be perfect. Let's just do it like how you want to do it. I mean, if you've forgotten something, you can say, "Oh, I forgot, and I'm going to ask you this." It's absolutely okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've forgotten, if you want to say something else, just say, "Okay, I want to say this now."
Yes. Sorry, I
Okay,
just
and
get bed.
that's okay.
Oh, so is
Yeah.
it fine if it's again? I'm so sorry. I was just kind of nervous, but
And isn't it understandable that you would be a bit nervous?
Yeah.
Okay, so just say that this is one of the first time that you're doing something like this, right, Vedika?
Second time, but I don't know much about like where you used to work and stuff. So I just d- I just wanted you to like continue like about introducing yourself. So basically, like after saying
I
our
think, yeah, I think this should be, I mean, this should be okay unless you want to ask me specifically a little bit more about, um, you know, what I did earlier and what I'm doing now. I think what you asked me and what I said would be, I mean, would give enough information, right? What do you
yes,
think?
yes. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah. So
start
you
again.
actually did a good. So I would think that you're doing fine.
Okay, we'll just start again. Sorry.
Okay.
So
If you want, do you
mi-
want to start again? Okay.
yeah,
All right.
Miss
Mm-hmm.
Chandrika was one of my previous counselors. During the fall of COVID-19, she used to counsel me on certain aspects like anxiety and nervousness. Before having a session with her, she used to read books on ADT and coach me using the techniques provided by the book. More than using it for techniques, she used it to know more about me and how my brain was wired and how it functioned. Um,
Okay. Okay. So I just want you to know that, what you were doing with me was you were doing these worksheets. So the
yeah,
book that I was referring to had, were worksheets specifically meant for um, training you in those skills.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So continue.
Um, So, what are the most common symptoms of ADD or ADHD that parents should be aware of?
Like I said, if you notice uh, uh, over time that a child is not able to focus on a task, um, and has difficulty sitting still for even short periods of time, and sometimes like the it would be accompanied by a lot of hyperactivity, unable to sit, unable to focus, unable and getting very easily distracted by whatever is happening. So, like I said, it's there are a lot of it's a checklist basically, and like I'm not the best person to go through that checklist. So this kind of a diagnosis has to be done by a clinical psychologist. Okay, they have the tools to sort of understand this condition and also offer solutions. Okay.